All right, classroom inclusion, classroom management, all of these fun things that are really scary, especially if you're not used to doing it. It's when I first started teaching, it was really difficult because I'm not used to having to tell people what to do, and it can be a little bit intimidating if you have a student that's like, maybe tells you to F off or tells you that they don't want to do something or causes a scene, and you're the one who has to be in control. So I know some of the other teachers already touched on this, but using a loud voice, not screaming, but a loud, slow, deliberate tone goes a long way, and not changing that tone if a student gives you sass. So it's very difficult when it's somebody's giving you attitude, like, oh, who do you think you are? You could just come in and blah, blah, blah. And then you go, I'm a you just, whatever, you never know what you're going to say, but whatever you're going to say, you keep your composure and you keep your same tone of voice. You don't show that you're upset. You don't show that it phases you. And you set your expectations very clearly. A lot of the times, I encounter students that are shy or they don't want to play an instrument, but they do want to be in music class. So I never force anybody to pick up anything or do something that they don't want to do, and I make that really clear. Sometimes when you're working in remote or underserved communities or populations, they don't have a lot of control in their life or in their living situations, and music is meant to be a calming effect. It's meant to help them feel confident. And I never force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. That being said, I challenge students to do stuff in a positive way. So if I have a group of students that come in and I'm asking them to pick up a percussion instrument and a student says, I don't want to pick anything up, and I say, well, I'd really like you to be included, and I know your classmates are going to miss what you have to play, but if you just want to watch, that's okay. And I'll get them to not leave the room, not leave the circle necessarily. They're still a part of it, but because they're there, they want to be there. If they didn't want to be there, they wouldn't be, right? So I never force anybody to do something, but you also, when you're getting kids to practice guitar and their fingertips hurt, but you know they're into it, you just say 3 more times. We're going to go over this 3 more times. So you do want to run kind of like a tight ship, and you want to challenge them when you know they're ready. And it's just a learning curve. Like, I still don't know what I'm doing, and I still make a lot of mistakes, but that's what teaching is about. In terms of classroom management, I never try to single anybody out in a negative way. So I always try to flip it. So if someone is on the drum kit and they shouldn't be, and they know they shouldn't be, I don't say, get off the drum kit, you're not allowed to be there, stop what you're doing. I always say, oh, there's something really fun, we'd really love for you to come over here, this is what we're doing. And if they still don't get off, I ask, like, do you know what the rules are? And they'll say, usually they know they shouldn't be on there, but I always ask it to them. So do you know what the rules are? Yes. What are the rules? I shouldn't be on the drum kit. Okay. Or if I do ask them to get off the drum kit, I say, oh, can you please get off the drum kit? It's not drum kit time. And they keep playing. I say, oh, did you hear what I just said? And they're like, I'm not sure if you heard me because I asked you not to be on there and you're still on there. So it's always in a very, that's what I'm comfortable with. And everybody has their own type of discipline. I'm just trying to throw out a little bit of some ideas. Sometimes students do need to be removed if it's too disruptive for the whole classroom, because you're not doing the classroom any favors by letting someone continue their behavior, because everybody else is losing out. You got a classroom full of people that want to learn, and one person is making it difficult. So I will either take them back to their classroom, or I've never really had to send anybody to the principal's office, but that is always a thing, that you can do. Usually when they know you're serious, they want to stay in the room. Side note, I was a jerk to my music teacher, and I've apologized to him as an adult, but I was a disruptive brat. And I'm sure I had my reasons, but when kids are acting out in my class, I just think, well, Eliza, that's what you did. So, so it can be difficult to know what to do. And, I'm not a trained music teacher. I didn't, I'm just kind of making this up, and I've been teaching music for a while, and you'll find your way. And sometimes you say things you regret, but just know that it's all okay. So that's really try to make it inclusive and for the students to feel that everybody wants them there. So you try to create like a team atmosphere and all that jazz. So that's how I do that. All right, I'm going to talk about the legalities surrounding suicide and abuse disclosures, as well as how to yourself cope with things that you might be hearing in the classroom, and how you can be better prepared for that kind of thing. So the first thing I do when I'm going into a community is I will identify my supports. And there is a sheet in the camp curriculum that you can print off that actually has the contacts of people who will be your support system. Because things can get very tough. You can feel very isolated when you're working in a remote community. You can hear a lot of things that maybe you're not used to hearing. Students, adults, can disclose to you suicide ideations, or perhaps talk to you about other people who have been killed or murdered, or like there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. And if you're not used to hearing that kind of stuff, it can be really difficult. So on this form, we have a list of all the people that you should seek out and get their numbers and try to introduce yourself to them. So who are the mental health workers? Who are the youth workers? Who are the elders? Who works at the clinic? Who does youth programming? There's more on that list, but what I recommend you doing is trying to fill in that list as much as possible for the names of the people, the RCMP. Introduce yourself so they know what you're doing, and really lean on them for guidance. If a student discloses any type of abuse or thoughts of harming themselves or others, it is your legal responsibility to tell somebody. And it's also your responsibility to let that child or student or person know that for their own safety, you're going to have to tell somebody. And that can be really hard. Sometimes if I feel like it's moving in that direction, like somebody is maybe getting close to telling me something, I will just let them know that I'm a safe person to talk to. But if they let me know that they are harming themselves or others, or somebody is harming them, it is my responsibility to keep them safe. And to keep them safe, I need to tell somebody else. Because it can be very harmful if somebody tells you something and then they feel blindsided, like you just told their secrets. You just reinforce that the reason I'm telling you this is because I care about you and I want you safe, and right now you're not safe. So that can be your administrator, like the principal in the school, the guidance counselor, their teacher, just somebody. It's not your secret to keep. It's not for you to keep. You're not trained to keep that, and you're not keeping that person safe if you hold that. And also that student or person might want to talk to you. You might have a connection with them and they want to talk to you about it, but you're not a trained mental health worker or counselor or psychologist, so you want to try to connect them with the people that can really help them. You can still be a contact person for them, you can be their support, but you really want to try to connect them with somebody else who can help them. And I've found it's really important to follow up. Sometimes there is a lot of people or students in the system already who are maybe who are being reported or that kind of thing. I always follow up and I'll say, hey, I mentioned to you the other day about so-and-so. Are they getting the supports they need? did you guys approach, what steps are being taken? Because sometimes it can just kind of fall by the wayside. So it's really important to also follow up. Additionally, knowing yourself, musicians are often sensitive creatures, and we take on a lot, and we feel people's pain. And if, like, even to the most experienced people, hearing this kind of stuff can be, it's heavy, right? So making sure that you're checking in with yourself and you're talking to people. You might want to find somebody that you can talk to that's beyond a friend. Friends and family are great and they're supportive, but sometimes if you feel like it's too heavy, and you're kind of feeling the effects of you're feeling down, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling nervous because of things that you've been hearing, reach out to mental health workers there. Reach out to the guidance counselors. Don't be afraid. It's not being tough. Being unaffected by tough situations isn't tough. You should feel, and it's just a process. So feel your feelings. Don't shut them off. If you feel nervous or scared, or you feel like crying, just do that kind of thing, and know that that's okay. But also reach out. But be realistic about what's going on, and there's lots of training courses out there you can take to learn how to work better with, populations that may have experienced a lot of trauma. So yeah, use your supports, meet a lot of people, and talk to a lot of people, and you will be fine.